Waveland Mayor Tommy Longo says his city is on the road to recovery.
The government buildings and facilities are all open again after being damaged by Hurricane Katrina. This Katrina-damaged home in East Biloxi becomes the latest rebuilding project.
The new post-Katrina Gulfport Small Craft Harbor is open for business.
Just to think that something like this so beautiful came from Katrina. It's just a rebirth.
A decade after the disaster that threw the Mississippi Gulf Coast into chaos, the heartbeat of its people is stronger than ever as they move forward with their life beyond Katrina.
Our people got knocked down by the worst natural disaster in American history, and they got back up and they hitched up their britches and went to work.
Governor Barber said Mississippians must build back bigger and better after Hurricane Katrina, or else we will fail. Has our coast and community lived up to that challenge?
Like you, we remember August 29, 2005. We remember that moment when the roof of our building started peeling away. And we remember the emotions when we went back into our neighborhoods and we saw all of the damage done by that unmerciful storm.
Like you, we remember the unbelievable strength and resilience of our friends, neighbors, and communities. We marvel every day at how far we've come, but realize that we still have a lot to do. Over the next hour, we're going to focus on life beyond Katrina. We're going to concentrate on what Governor Barber said when he asked us to hitch up our britches and rebuild our communities.
But before we look ahead, it's very important to remember this is the Katrina Memorial at Biloxi's Town Green. It's designed to honor the fallen, and it's a very powerful reminder of the horror of Hurricane Katrina. One of the most vivid memories of August 29, 2005 was when we were given access to frantic 911 calls made during the storm. Calls like this one.
911. I'm right on the coastline. My house is filling up with water. Okay, how deep is it, the water in your house? The water is up to my kitchen counter. To your kitchen my house counter? Is shaking. It's about ready to come down. Okay, well, we don't have any emergency personnel out on the roads right now. I can't promise how long it'll be, but as soon as we can get somebody out to you, we will. Oh, God, we're gonna die.
Those calls from petrified South Mississippians begging for any kind of help to save their lives. Now, 10 years later, Megan Gray sits down with some of the same people who made those calls. Megan?
Panic, desperation, that's what you'll hear in their voices. The people who called 911 begging for help during the height of the storm because they were trapped in their homes. All of them were caught off guard by Katrina's fierce storm surge. They did the only thing they knew to do, call for help.
911, where's your emergency? Please, somebody come help us. The water's going over my head. I'm about to die. I just want to let you know that me and Mama are going to die. We're trapped in our house, and it's falling apart. Your house is falling apart?
Not something I want to revisit.
A decade later, and the voices still haunt Sherry Hokamp. She was the 911 dispatch supervisor in charge on that fateful day, the one who had to remind her staff, no matter how desperate the calls, they were not allowed to send help.
Which is what we do. We take care of people, and at the time we felt like our hands were tied and we were not able to do what we do to keep our citizens safe.
As floodwaters invaded homes, people called emergency dispatchers knowing they wouldn't make it.
911, what's your emergency? We were stupid. We're down on the beach. The only thing I can tell you to do is pretty much do what you got to do because we can't get nobody to you right now. Well, if worse comes to worse, my name is Ida Punzo, and tell my family hello.
When Ida Punzo dialed 911, she had already accepted her fate.
And I remember sitting on the couch and just having a good heart-to-heart talk with the Lord and saying, this is it, Lord. You know, I'm not afraid, I'm ready, and, well, I knew I was going to heaven then.
But first, she needed to do something very important. She needed to leave a message for her daughter.
And I'd like to tell her that I love her unconditionally and that I'm sorry because I didn't want to die without saying goodbye.
Ida has now reconnected with her daughter. They both still live in South Mississippi, but Ida says she will evacuate the next time a major storm heads our way. Some of the most difficult calls to take were from children.
Sarah, It's okay. Your daddy's going to take care of you, okay, baby? I know, baby, but your daddy's going to take care of you, okay?
I remember sitting on the couch, and my parents were on the phone with 911, and they got them to talk to me. I just did not understand how they could not come get us.
Sarah Jeanfro was 10 at the time. Her family lived in Eagle Point and found themselves trapped by the rising water.
I just remember sitting there watching the family pictures just come off the wall and float by me, and that was just, I think, the most devastating moment was just seeing things start to, like my house, float by me. All of our memories.
The only thing Sarah grabbed before taking refuge in the attic was her family Bible. She clung to it the entire 12 hours.
It's just something that is special to our family, and this can't be replaced. You know, I can get more toys, I can get more clothes, but I could never have this again.
Sarah still has that Bible. It stays next to her bed. She now has her own family, 2 children and a husband, and they too chose to stay in South Mississippi. And Sherry Hokamp is still a supervisor at the Biloxi Dispatch Center. After living through the horror of Katrina, she doesn't want to remember the bad. Instead, she took away one very important lesson.
I hope that I never stop to gauge anything against Katrina. I want it to be, in my mind's eye, worse than Katrina was, so I can actually be on the front side of that on what to expect and to get these people where they need to be ahead of time.
911, where's emergency?
Every storm is different, a tough lesson we all had to learn together. And for those 911 callers who survived Katrina, they know not to wait the next time officials give evacuation orders.
Thanks, Megan. Another group of people who experienced firsthand the rising waters of Katrina and lived to tell their story. First responders staying in the Hancock County EOC building. Al Showers was also with them as the water just kept getting higher. This story of survival is coming up in just a few minutes.
One of the most traveled bridges on the coast was destroyed by Katrina. But as Steve Phillips reports, it was built back bigger and better and remains a widely used bridge for so many.
Hurricane Katrina's storm surge demolished the Biloxi Ocean Springs Bridge. Its concrete decking toppled like dominoes. Plans for building a new bridge began soon after the storm winds subsided. It is among the most visible projects that best symbolize post-Katrina recovery. The Biloxi Ocean Springs Bridge is a 1.6-mile-long gateway that stands as a testament to the determination of community leaders, MDOT, and the hundreds of construction workers that helped build the impressive span.
My initial thought was, this is once in our lifetime to get it right. The bridge is the gateway to our community. Definitely I wanted a signature bridge and to be open to all people. So the pathway for pedestrians and cyclists was also very important to me.
Mayor Moran fought for that wide pedestrian pathway along with aesthetic touches to the new bridge. Her insistence on including those features wasn't very popular with some folks 10 years ago. There were fears those aesthetic touches could hold up construction.
Everything that I wanted was negotiated 6 weeks after the storm. That was all in the original spec sheets. So the aesthetics is not what held up the bridge at all.
Still, it took her speaking out strongly to insist that those elements were included in the final plans.
I think it was worth the fight. I know a lot of people probably wanted to burn me in effigy at that time, but sometimes you just, when you know in your heart that it's the right thing to do and you're a public servant and you think it's really for the public good, that's your time to fight.
I do think about what was there and what is there now and what it took to get there.
MDOT's Kelly Castleberry is the engineer who was responsible for overseeing the construction of this landmark project. Given the importance of the span as a critical link for commerce, the bridge project was put on a fast-track construction schedule.
This particular bridge, we had a lot of operations going on. It was the design-build aspect to where the design is being done at the same time construction is. And design's just a little ahead, so it's a different method than we use, which is design bid build.
I reported on the progress of this project numerous times during construction. One impressive fact, the 86,000 cubic yards of concrete needed was enough to build a 5-foot wide, 4-inch high sidewalk from the coast to Greenville, Mississippi.
Roughly 22 months after we started construction, we were able to get the bridge going. Of course, now it's a significant price tag to move a bridge that fast, but it was able to be done. And I think the citizens are able to enjoy it today.
These days, tens of thousands of motorists a day travel the bridge. Many others use the popular pedestrian pathway.
It's wonderful. It's great exercise for anybody, everybody.
Goche's Vi Steelman is among the regular bridge walkers. She's thankful the pathway was included in the bridge building plans.
Money well spent.
Is this a good workout?
Absolutely. It's a great workout. I'm in better shape than I've ever been.
It should be able to withstand the storms. There may be a little damage on each end that we'll be able to repair quickly, but for the main part, the whole structure should hopefully maintain what you see out there today.
This is our signature infrastructure. The Biloxi Bay Bridge connects the coast, Ocean Springs back to Biloxi, something we can all be proud of.
Remnants from the old bridge were also put to good use. Large chunks of concrete were used to build the Katrina fishing reef south of Deer Island. I'm Steve Phillips in Ocean Springs.
And on the other end of Harrison County, the Bay St. Louis Bridge also had to be rebuilt. The bridge was destroyed. The new bridge is now much higher than the old one and includes a walking path that is used on a daily basis by so many residents and visitors. The bridge reopened for drivers 20 months after Katrina.
Straight ahead on Life Beyond Katrina, the new way to build along the coast.
The impact of Katrina was huge for us. You know, the elevations went up, you know, in some areas 3, 4, 5, 6 feet.
The effects of elevation standards. We take a look at the impact it's had on redeveloping prime property on Highway 90. Plus,
we all heard the phrase, we're going to build back bigger and better. But is that really true? Is bigger actually better? I'll investigate.